Good morning, everyone. It's too quiet. Good morning, everyone. All right. So, heard from many of our colleagues. Some of our colleagues talked about Roman ramen noodles. Um, Something I definitely know a little bit about, even though I shouldn't eat them. I do, and a long time ago I did, and I did a lot because sometimes that was some foods that we can only afford. And that's a hardship, I think, along with this is the foods that we can afford. The people can't afford the specific foods that they need for protein and nourishment and stuff. This is a great reason why I'm so appreciative of places like the United Way, because they constantly try and reach out and get out the foods that those that have these food insecurities need. So I just wanted to say that right off the top. Another one of my colleagues talked about the kids that throw pencils into the ceiling. I was one of those kids. I did it so much that I got sent home, and had to pay for some damage in the school for doing it. But it was because my concentration was off, my focus was off. I needed something to do to keep me from not thinking about being hungry. And instead of being able to walk out of the classroom and fill myself with water from the water fountain. And, those are the type of things that some of our kids do today. And this is why it's so important to make sure that our kids eat while in school. And though we're pushing for breakfast, it don't need to be just breakfast. It needs to be all meals in school. That's a hard swallow for some, but we stand up here as legislators and we talk about trying to do what's great for our kids, and we don't fully commit to doing what's great for our kids. And that's a way for us to do that. So some legislators get a little mad at me for talking directly to them, but sometimes we have to talk to one another publicly so that they understand how important it is for us to take the action that we're supposed to take. And we're being too lackadaisical. We're not putting and investing enough in what we need to invest in to make our kids go another year before the budget kicks in for the food that they really need. I'd like for those legislators and the administration to think about when they need a coffee, how we act when we need a coffee. Everybody gets into this thing sometimes, but some people can't do anything without a coffee, and mostly it's adults. So I want you to think about when you need your coffee, how much you drive yourself to go and get that coffee. Some of you leave this building and run down the street because you need a coffee, because they don't have the correct coffee here that you want. For those who need that energy drink, it ain't no different than how kids feel in school. When they're hungry and their focus breaks, is no different than how us adults need that survival, because that's what a coffee does sometimes. It helps you survive. Though I don't drink that much coffee, um, that's just the best example that I can give, because I watch people go around here. I got to go get a coffee first. Before doing the business, you need a coffee? Yes. Okay. Now I want them to think about that when they vote on the bills that we're trying to put in for our kids in school to eat, because that is the most realistic way that you can think about how they feel. It's a necessity for us to make sure that we make sure our kids are getting what they need when it comes to nutrition in school. And it doesn't just stop at school. Food insecurity is not just a statistic. It's a daily reality for far too many people in Connecticut. Families, seniors, children, veterans are going without enough to eat. Not because of lack of effort, but because of our system is failing them. And I'm going to say it again. Our system is failing them. We are responsible. And if we don't take action, then we are the ones to blame. We're long past the point of offering symbolic gestures and temporary band-aids. We need real, meaningful investment to put an end to hunger in our communities once and for all. Food insecurity hurts. It damages health, weakens minds, and kills potential. I'm going to say it again. It damages health, it weakens minds, and kills potential. Because some of them, or some of us that drink coffee, that's what we need to get our together. So for a child who doesn't get enough to eat, struggles to focus in school and falls behind, a senior skipping meals to afford medication, faces worsening health conditions, a working parent stretching their last dollars on rent instead of food faces impossible choices. No one should have to make these decisions in order to eat. Hunger doesn't just mean an empty stomach, it means chronic illness, stress, lost opportunities, cycles of poverty that are hard to break. It is unacceptable that in a state as wealthy as Connecticut, people choose between food, rent, and medication. It's unacceptable that food pantries are lifelines now. Food pantries are lifelines. That's ridiculous. We shouldn't have to depend on food pantries to be the lifeline for nourishment, food, and health. But that's what they do. And this society has gotten so comfortable to allow places like United Way or other food pantries to be the place for people to have to go instead of change the dynamics that we need to change to make it better for all people, not just those that can afford it. We hear the promises, we hear the speeches, but talk is cheap and people can't eat words. Connecticut needs real solutions, a commitment to ensuring food access, funding for programs, support for urban agriculture, and policies that put people before politics. This is not about charity. This is about justice. This is about basic human dignity that every person deserves. So let's stop the excuses, stop the delays, and start putting action behind our words. Enough is enough. Let's do what we need to do. Thank you.